What's up guys? Welcome to my vlog. For today's video, I will tackle about the history and evolution of communication. But before we proceed to our video, let us know the definition of communication. So what is communication? Communication is the process of generating meaning by sending and receiving symbolic cues that are influenced by multiple contexts. Ancient Greeks like Aristotle and Plato started a rich tradition of the study of rhetoric in Western world more than 2,000 years ago. So first, the history of communication. Communication has existed since the beginning of human beings, but it was not until the 20th century that people began to study the process. So as we all know that people before were using some signals just to communicate each other. For instance, they used smokes, pigeons, and etc. just to communicate each other. The history of communication itself can be traced back since the origin of speech circa 100,000 BCE. The use of technology in communication may be considered since the first use of symbols about 30,000 years BCE. Among the symbols used, there are cave paintings, petroglyphs, pictograms, and ideograms. Evolution is an important communication function at all levels of the organization. Communication evaluation can be defined as judging messages, products, and engagements based on their effectiveness at reaching specified goals and principles. Do you know that communication has three eras, namely visual era, wired era, and wireless era? Visual era of communication is one of the earliest methods of communication, and it started with cave paintings. Generally, the numerous paintings and engravings found in caves and shelters dating back to the Ice Age, Upper Paleolithic, roughly between 4,000 and 14 years ago. Second, we have pictograph. Pictographs are pictures that represent words or ideas. In visual era, we also have petroglyphs. Petroglyphs are rock carvings made by pecking directly on the rock surface using a stone chisel and a hammerstone. The fourth example is hieroglyphics. It is a writing system invented in Egypt around 5,000 years ago. Lastly, we have rock paintings, are humanly made markings on natural rock surfaces. As what I have mentioned, those are the examples of visual era of communication. Next, we have wired era of communication. It refers to the transmission of data over a wire-based communication technology or telecommunication cables. Wired communication is also known as wireline communication. First example of wired era of communication is telephone. It is an instrument designed for the simultaneous transmission and reception of the human voice. Second example is we have cable television. Generally, any system that distributes television signals. Next is we have coaxial cable. Is a type of copper cable specially built with a metal shield and other components engineered to block signal interference. The fourth example is we have Ethernet cables, or a type of network cable. They are designed to work with Ethernet ports. Ethernet ports can be found on routers, computers, TVs, and most Internet and network-enabled devices. Fiber optic cable. It contains anywhere from a few to hundreds of optical fibers within a plastic casing. Those are the examples of wired era of communications. Last is the wireless era of communication. Wireless era of communication is the transfer of information between two or more points without the use of an electrical conductor, optical fiber, or other continuous guided medium for the transfer. One of the examples of wireless era of communication is first we have Wi-Fi, or wireless fidelity. Is a wireless networking technology that allows devices such as computers, laptops, and desktops, mobile devices like smartphones and wearables, and other equipment like printers and video cameras to interface with the internet. Radio, the wireless transmission and reception of electric impulses or signals by means of electromagnetic waves. Next is we have radar. Is a system that uses radio waves to determine the distance, direction, and elevation, and radial velocity of objects. The acronym for radar is radio detection and ranging. GPS, or global positioning system. It is utilized for navigation, getting from one location to another, tracking, monitoring object or personal movement. Last is mapping, creating maps of the world, timing, making it possible to take precise time measurements. Last example is we have Bluetooth. Bluetooth technology allows devices to communicate with each other without cables or wires. Those are the examples of wireless era of communication. Don't forget to subscribe